Welcome to a short video about STS4 bootlife hovers for remote apps. So by now you should have learned from another video bootlife hovers for local apps and how useful they are for troubleshooting your Spring Boot application. So the same feature exists for remote Spring Boot apps. So it's activated when you deploy your Spring Boot app to CF. In the deployment dialog at the bottom you see the GMX SSH enable checkbox. So if you check mark it, enable it, then there will be an SSH tunnel between your ID and your remote app on CF. And via the tunnel, the live data beans, the data about live beans will be fetched into your ID. I have already deployed my app on CF with GMX SSH tunnel enabled, as you can tell from this little GMX tag here. The app also has remote boot DevTools attached to it. So we can see the live boot live hints and hovers already, as well as the code lens is enabled. So it's the hovers are exactly the same as almost the same as for local apps. The only difference here is, for example, this process information. It's about process on CF rather than local process. And for request mappings, you get obviously the CF URL rather than local URL. So if we navigate, let's say, to our home page of the app, you can see that it's working and it's coming from CF. Right? So there is a problem with the app, which is if you look for owners, it doesn't find any owners, but there must be some. So we should try and fix that using bootlife hints and hovers. So that was the owners endpoint. So let's navigate to this endpoint. Right, and the problem is here, owner search service returns empty results. So let's see where it's defined. It goes in via the setter, and the setter is auto-wired. And we could see that bean being wired in here is empty owner search service, which is kind of self-explanatory. If you look at the implementation, it also returns empty list. So we should see where this bean is defined and why it ends up in the application context. So we should look at its resource. So the resource is really, the place where it's defined is really this add bean annotation, and we could see that it's injected into owner controller. So that's the right place. So empty owner search service return if properties is search is false. So properties is another bean being auto-wired in our owner configuration. So let's look at the type owner's properties and figure out what's here. So it's a configuration properties bean with prefix pet clinic owners, and defines a search property. So there is an externalized pet clinic owners search property that by default is false. So let's set this property to true. It's not in the properties file, in the YAML file. So let's define it, set it to true, and let's go back to our owner controller bean and see if the right bean is being injected now, right? And it just got injected quickly here, right? Because app is being reloaded, so it's owner search service now. And if we try our owner's endpoint, it should return us some list of owners, which it's gonna take a while to look for owners, but eventually it should show up, right? And we see the owners. So this is it. This is the bootlife hovers and hints for remote apps. Thank you for watching.